talk about confusing and talk about turning this more into a joke.
I'm not like everybody else.
What is up, guys? Geary Issue 33. Now, before we talk about Biden's executive order on trans being, I guess you could say, forced to register for selective service, of course, that there being the draft, I want to go ahead and let you guys know that the two videos that I was going to be doing on how America would respond to a nuclear attack, those videos will be out this week, more than likely on Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday, or they may both be out on Wednesday. I'm a little bit behind. I just want to go ahead and apologize for that now. But we got to talk about this because, once again, this is just more and more proof that America is, let's just say, not as strong as we think we are, and, of course, living in a false sense of security and a false reality. Now, guys, me personally, I am, to a certain degree, not in favor of a draft. What I am in favor of, and don't worry, we'll talk about the trans issue soon. But the thing about me is this right here. I am in favor of allowing other vets, especially vets who, quite frankly, can't, especially in a bad economy, I'm okay with allowing them back into the military if they want to go back in. Now, obviously, not everybody who served is going to want to go back in, but then again, though, situations do arise. And, of course, men are not sometimes, or let's just say the process to get back in is a bit of a pain in the ass. Now, like I said before, I'm okay with guys going back in. I'm also okay with guys going back in and keeping their VA benefits. Some guys don't want to do it because they're afraid they may lose their benefits. But then again, though, and I understand that the rule may have changed, but I was under the impression that you couldn't go back in if you were registered or you were collecting more than 40% as far as VA benefits is concerned. Either way, we may do a special video on that at a later date. I think I did one before on that, one of the very first videos, but I think I'm going to be doing a much more in-depth video. I think it was a part of my original collage of videos for the channel. Now, with that right there being said, let's go ahead and talk about this issue. So Biden basically signed an executive order stating that if you were born male, you need to, regardless of what you identify as, you need to actually register for the draft. Okay, which, by the way, I, to a certain degree, kind of sort of think this right here is hilarious because, I mean, a lot of people try to pretend to be women so that way they can suddenly get status as a woman. But then again, though, we all know that there are biological men out there who try to fight with biological women who, of course, they pretend to be women. It's a pretty sick practice. I've talked about this on multiple occasions on my regular channel, John Claymore. I mean, to me, I just think, look, if you're a biological male, you need to be in sports strictly competing against biological males. Same thing with women. If you are a biological woman, you need to be competing against strictly a woman. You cannot identify as something else. I mean, the whole trans thing is just completely confusing to me. I cover it more on the Claymore channel. And of course, my feeling on it in the military is this right here. It makes us look like a joke. Also, something else too, you are forcing the taxpayers to pay for somebody else's elective personal procedure should they decide that they want to actually get the surgery. And I don't agree with that. 100%, I'm completely against that. As a matter of fact, I'm also going to be giving you guys my personal thoughts on the draft in this video, and I'm also going to be giving you guys my thoughts on gays in the military in general. So I'm already ready to go and get canceled. When you've got Russia and you've got Ukraine fighting in a war, when you've got this possibility of NATO possibly getting involved, when you've got a president who's simply sleepwalking us into World War III, I think one of the main reasons why this is occurring is because countries like, say, China and Russia and even some European nations are looking at the United States and they're saying to themselves, this right here is an absolute freaking joke. These people right here are absolutely hilarious. These people cannot be serious about fighting the next war. But then again, though, here we are. Now, guys, I think some additional context needs to be stated here. Apparently, this executive order goes all the way back to 2018 when Trump was in office. So Trump also signed the same exact executive order, basically saying that if you're a biological male and even if you identify as a woman, you still got to join the military. Now, guys, as I said before, I think the trans issue is a bit of an embarrassment for the military. It weakens overall morale. It also makes us look like a bit of a joke. We don't need to be projecting weakness at this moment in time, and we don't need to be projecting to the world that we're a joke. We need to actually be projecting strength. Now, as I said before in the previous part of the video, I'm not okay with this. I'm really not okay with the draft either, because if you draft people, sometimes those men are not going to want to actually fight the actual fights. Look at Russia right now. 2/3 of their military is actually conscripts, and let's just say they're a little bit less enthusiastic than someone who actually voluntarily joins. Now, guys, on the trans issue, this right here is what happens when progressives take over the military. This is what happens when progressives are in charge. As a matter of fact, this is actually the biggest result of liberals being in charge. Now, guys, let me go ahead and give you guys a little bit of history. And this right here is how I kind of sort of formulated my opinion on the topic of LGBTQ in the military. Make sure you guys hear me out really, really quick, because I know some people are going to come in here and scream bigot. And of course, some people are going to come in here and scream not at all. But hear me out really quick. During any point in time in this nation's history, especially considering our military, we have always maintained a strong fighting force for the most part, especially in training doctrine. It did not matter who the president was. However, things began to really change, I would say, right around the time that Bill Clinton came into office, when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was eventually put in. It used to be that if they found out that you were a homosexual, you were immediately voted from the military. Now then it became Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It remained Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And then, of course, when Obama got in office, he went full left wing and told them that they could openly serve as gay, basically. Now, my thinking at the time, and I was in the paralegal class, and not to mention I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps a few years prior and done 2 deployments to Iraq. My thinking at the time was, what you're doing is you're going to be killing the boys' morales. Now, I had talked to a few devil dogs, or a few guys who had gotten out the previous couple of years, one in 2009, one in 2000, actually 2 in 2010, and I had spoken to a couple of guys who, one of them was Army, who got out in 2010, another guy was Navy, and he stated, and they all stated to me, that the military was forcing these guys to sign certain waivers that they would not be offended by it. Okay, first of all, it's the United States military. You need to go ahead and get tough or die. Everyone is going to get offended at some point in time. And my fear at that point in time was that one of the main things that keeps men together, especially during those times when you're in combat, is the ability to rip on one another, the ability to talk trash to one another, the ability to say certain things to one another. Believe it or not, that very, very bad language does, in fact, serve a purpose. Believe it or not, all those jokes, all those nasty comments, these things do serve a purpose. They are there to toughen you up. They're there to go ahead and allow you to start getting comfortable within your own skin. I am one of those guys who, for the longest time, was not actually, how do you say, I was not comfortable in my own skin. I recall when I joined, think about it this way here. Think about having the maturity of a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old and being in a room full of 20 and 30-year-olds. That's how bad it was for me. It took me a long time to kind of catch up. As a matter of fact, I don't believe that I even started to really actually become a man until my final year in, which was 2007. I did not pick up corporal until after I got back home from my second deployment. And it took me a while to kind of formulate those opinions, to kind of formulate my brain at that point in time. I was a bit of a late bloomer. Okay, and looking back on it, the thing is this right here. When you have openly gay males or openly gay women, and by the way, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I don't really and truly have an issue with openly gay women at all. I really and truly don't. I know it sounds a bit contradictory, especially coming from my other channel. My issue is I really and truly don't care what you do in your personal life, as long as you're not trying to corrupt kids or hurt anybody else. And I think that gay women are a little bit different from gay men to a certain degree. You see, the thing about gay women is this right here, and I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but hear me out. Women experience a much, much different amount of emotions, okay? I mean, they have kids. Certain things trigger them in certain ways. For example, a lot of women actually view sex, for example, with a man as an actual spiritual experience. Men, on the other hand, for the most part, we kind of don't. And, of course, in my actual, at least as far as experience I've had, gay women are not as promiscuous as gay men. I understand that's a bit of an opinion. That's just my personal experience. Go ahead and rip me in the comments. I really don't care. If you want to agree, go right ahead. I mean, please give me your thoughts. But the thing is this right here. When you have openly gay men serving, of course, openly as gay, this right here creates a dynamic where men are going to be put to a much, much higher amount of scrutiny. Like if I say a certain phrase that, let's just say that very, very acute F word that we're not allowed to say here on YouTube, next thing you know, somebody may get offended. Now, with that right there being said, the same exact issue, of course, happens with the trans. I mean, I think it's a joke, and I think it's bad for morale. What if you actually insult someone? What if you actually say something? I mean, next thing you know, you're getting charged over your language. I mean, for all you know, you're a sergeant, and you say something to a PFC, they may take it the wrong way, and next thing you know, you're not allowed to discipline the men. You see, it also affects discipline. Now, this right here is where I'm going to ultimately end the video at. You see, right now, we need to be projecting strength. That right there is what we need to be projecting, not any type of weakness. And it's not just weakness on the world stage, it's actually weakness within the military itself. This world is getting nastier and nastier and nastier, yet it's also getting loonier and loonier and loonier. Right now, discipline needs to be the order of the day, and I don't think having a bunch of transgenders in the military is going to fix things. Guys, Gear Issue 33, if you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.
I'm not like everybody. Yeah.